hear me well? This is an excerpt from a short story called Homeless, which is a rather serious tale about Jordan So, who is a reclusive woman who has just moved to Shanghai after the sudden death of her parents. She is a piano teacher whose only friend is her IE. In the beginning of the scene, she is taking a walk late at night because she can't sleep. Only after she crosses the street does Jordan realize that the crowd in front of the jazz club are not patrons, but beggars. The first to reach her is an old man with one eye half shut. He calls out, "Menu, menu," and Jordan's eyebrows twitch. This poor man calling her a beautiful lady must obviously be blind. He steps forward and chants "money, money" instead, which makes a lot more sense, but still, she does not respond. She is too busy staring at the miniature nubs in his mouth where his teeth should be. Ashamed of her own curiosity, Jordan opens her purse and rummages for a coin. Others press forward from the shadows. A bicycle crashes to the pavement. Then suddenly, she sees them. Children. 3, 4, 5-year-olds standing beside the adults, holding out thin stalks of plastic roses from the thin stalks of their arms. "Money, money," they call out, some feeble, some bold. Her face flames hot. The children come closer, pressing up to her, and she feels a tiny hand on her forearm, then a faint tug on her purse. She tumbles backwards, taking with her a child firmly clamped to her wrist. The child looks up at her, bewildered for a moment, before renewing his refrain, "Money, money, menu." Horrified, she shakes off his tiny hand and breaks into a run. For months after that initial encounter, she finds herself wandering past the jazz club on her evening walks, trying to reason with the adults. "Sir, please take your child home. It's late. It's not good for your child. Please." She appeals to their blank expressions, imagining that in another life or another dimension, the spotted faces before her could be her father's, her mother's, or even her own. Whenever a child grabs hold of her, a cold sweat breaks along her spine. The children themselves do not frighten her, but the effect they have on her does. One afternoon, Jordan is on her way back from the grocery store with her IE, a gentle, reserved woman in her 40s, who is also the only person Jordan sees on a daily basis. They are compatible, close, but not uncomfortably close. As they pass the woman sitting on the ground with the child between her legs, Jordan instinctively reaches for her wallet, but IE stops her with a shake of her head. "It's no problem," Jordan responds in her faltering Mandarin, but IE puts her arm out and asserts in English, "No, thank you." Taken aback by IE's rare display of emotion, Jordan returns her wallet to her purse and they continue home in silence. Only after they put the groceries away does IE speak again. "As I told you before, I'm from a small village in Anhui," she begins. Jordan nods, even though Anhui is just a word with no roots. She resolves silently to commit the map of China to memory, chip away at her vast ignorance of the motherland. "Not safe, our village, because of the triads. My sister has a 4-year-old son, Xiao Yi. He liked to play outside. One day he didn't come home. My family looked for years. The police could not help. No one said anything because of the triads. Years we looked. Today, Xiao Yi would be 7. If I passed him on the street, probably I would not recognize him anymore." IE inhales slowly as if gathering steam and continues. "You see, the gangs, they take children, put them in another city and make them beg. Those children out there are not born homeless. Somewhere, they all have a home. The men and women who hold them are not their parents, just strangers hired by the triads. Some people even sell their children to make money or pay off debt. Their own children." IE shakes her head and adds, "So when you give them money, you encourage this cycle." Shocked and embarrassed, Jordan does not know how to respond. She's heard of such stories from faraway places like Mumbai or Beirut, but right here in Shanghai? IE turns away from her towards the sink where dirty dishes await. Jordan wants to reach out to say something more, but she has no words. An unspoken contract between them does not allow for hugs, or pats on the arm, or physical contact of any kind. Not knowing what else to do, Jordan reaches for the sack of rice in the pantry, and begins preparing for dinner. After that conversation, she becomes even more preoccupied with the beggars on the streets. Her late-night walks fan out in all directions, almost as if she's conducting a sweep. She begins to recognize faces, contingents. The more she witnesses, the more agitated she becomes. She wonders how the police can allow this kind of exploitation to continue, and why no one does anything about it, all the while realizing that she herself can do nothing. Still, she cannot stop. Late-night walks turn into all-night stakeouts. Her teaching life begins to suffer. Finally, after one of her favorite students nudges her awake in the middle of a lesson, she tells herself, no more. No more stakeouts, no more sweeps, so that there is nothing she can do for these kids on the street. She takes on 3 more students and abstains from her late-night walks, treating her insomnia instead with an unspeakable amount of law and order. Almost 2 months pass. Fall plummets into winter overnight, and Jordan is walking home one evening after work in a jacket that's much too thin. Without thinking, she heads towards a subway underpass to avoid the chill. As she descends underground, however, her stomach turns. She realizes that she will see him again, the little one she calls Chili. She's seen him countless times before, sitting alone with a chili sauce jar, while a lookout dozes around the corner and out of sight. A clever ploy, since child alone can garner more sympathy, the kind of sympathy that translates to money in a jar. Tonight, Chili is slumped over, asleep on an island of cardboard amidst a sea of sullied floor tiles. His right hand clutches the lid of his chili sauce jar, as if someone may try to abscond with his only possession. Seeing him again is more difficult than she has anticipated. She comes to a halt beside him, her hand on her purse. His breathing is ragged and faint. A singular thought suddenly possesses her. Something must be done. She leans over, gathers the sleeping child into her arms, and runs. Down the corridor, up the stairwell, towards the opaque sky. She sprints the entire way home, wondering how long it would take for the lookout to realize that his charge had disappeared.